coming up on the Lead Ministry Podcast.
People are not a means to an end. They are the end. Mm-hmm. They are the focus. That is your whole point, is to develop and invest and pastor the people around you.
Now your host, Josh Denhart.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Lead Ministry Podcast. Grateful that you're here. My name is Josh Denhart. We are talking today and this whole month about conflict. Guess what? If you're experiencing conflict and you're in a ministry context, you, my friend, are experiencing a good case of the normals. Conflict is inevitable, but sometimes conflict happens because of us. We're sometimes the one that is kind of at the heart of the conflict. Vance, great to see you again, buddy.
Hey, it's great to be here with you, Josh. And I will say, you're never probably the source of the conflict. It can't be true.
Yes.
Say it isn't so, Josh.
Say it ain't so.
Because I know it's never me.
That's never us, right? That's at least what we all think. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to pull out some transparency during this podcast. I have grown, as we all should, but I did add a layer of conflict that didn't need to be there because of my very own person. And guess what? You have as well, brother. Yep. I see you raising your hand right there.
Yep.
But there are people out in the podcast land that, you know what? You're amongst friends. Okay. I've not done it all right. Vance, you've not done it all right. And if you're listening to this, guess what? You've not done it all right. The whole point and the heart of what we're talking about today is self-betterment and improvement. And
yes. Self-awareness, knowing where you're weak, where you're strong.
That's right. Well, we're talking about ability and likability. So maybe you're super good at your job and you're super, super, super easy to get along with. That is an unstoppable force, my friend.
Yes. But you're not great at your job or you're not very likable. We got some problems.
We got some work to do. Our work isn't done, right? So at the end of the day, which leader are you becoming? Where do you need to grow? Well, we're going to define it. We're going to develop it, and then we're going to have some action points for you to do it. Now, here it is, Vance. We have these are what I call the two axes of leadership. You got ability and you have likability. So let's define these. Ability is what you're capable of. You got skills. Yep. You have execution. If you have ability, you're bringing excellence to the table. Well, that is one axis. That's one of the axes on this graph. The other one is not ability. It's likability. How you are experienced. Is it you're relationally warm? You've got humility. You bring trustworthiness to the table. You're fun. You're funny. You're likable. And so it's quite a powerful thing when somebody who's got great ability is also extremely likable. But there's 4 quadrants here, Vance. There is ability and likability. You got the x-axis and the y-axis. Let's talk for just a minute. If you are highly likable, one of the best guys in the room, but you can't execute your way out of a wet bag, you are incompetent.
Incompetent.
I'm
thinking of what is it? Home Alone, and the sister's telling Kevin, and she's like, Kevin, you are what the French call l'incompetent, which is incompetent. You're incompetent. This is you, Kevin.
You can't get it done. That's who this is. Now watch carefully.
That's right.
This is what I would say. You know what? They've got a great heart.
Yes.
I
think this was probably me early on in ministry, because what I tried to do, I think we naturally gravitate to one of these other things. Mm-hmm. And what you'll do is you'll overcompensate. So what I did was just got everybody to like me. And now part of this I think is strategic. I'd go over to the finance department and I would schmooze with those ladies. Mm-hmm. I'd be their best friend. I'd bring them apples. And you know what? When my receipts were late it's just Vance.
Right.
There's a covering up, but I'm using my likability
so in this my lack of ability. Okay. So if you're looking at this graph on YouTube, that's great that you're a likable person. The exercise for this individual then is to increase your ability and yet maintain your likability. You got another one here though. Oh brother, if you are kind of a jerk to be around and you really can't get it done. You got low ability and low likability. Son, you're infamous.
Yes.
Like
infamous.
You're
known, but not in a good way.
That you're known, but not in a good way. Now watch this. This was you, Vance, kind of outed yourself. This was me. I was highly able, but sometimes I really didn't care. And I'd be like, dude, I'm getting this done and I'm going to get it done.
That's a you problem.
That's it. Yep. I'm getting this done at 110%. And if you're in my way, then like step aside. I was, this is sad, another I word, intimidator. That was me. And
we all know this person.
That was me. And I had to grow and be like, I can get it done, but I have to get it done in a way that retains and even like helps relationships.
Yeah, this is the bull in the china shop. This is not you get stuff done, but you're just a wake of destruction behind you.
And I would not say that I was a wake of destruction, but I had to move a little bit toward the likability side. Now, if in fact you are highly able and you're highly likable, you are an influencer. You're going to provide extreme value to any organization. Now, I got to say, Vance, here I was teaching this concept about ability and likability at a national conference. You, my friend, came into that national conference, sat in the front row, and at the end of it all, you said, Josh, take a look at this. And you showed me these 4 eyes. And I was like, that's genius. And so you just made this concept that I have taught, which is not necessarily, this is very common, but you put a lot of clarity to this. And so thank you for your fingerprints.
We're a good team, Josh.
We're a good team, buddy. Very grateful. Okay, so the 4 quadrants of leadership, we've touched on them. Let's talk about this infamous low ability, low likability. These leaders are often known, but not in a good way. They are under-deliverers and they damage culture. People avoid them. They create drama. They create distrust. This is the last person you want to be. They're not easy to get along with, and they can't even get the job done anyway.
Yeah. I think the way that I've seen this play out in a lot of people, they have the highest level of the lowest level of self-awareness. They're completely unaware because often this person believes that they have great ability. More often than not, they think they are really smart and they know what's best, and therefore they act like they are. And sometimes they're just overcompensating for their lack of knowledge. And this erodes culture so fast. And I will say too, as a leader, if you have somebody like this on your team and you're allowing it, people see it and they're looking to you to deal with it because this is a cancer that's got to be dealt with. And if you can't think of somebody on your church staff that fits this bill, it might be you. So watch out for that.
Watch out. Here's what I want to say. And I learned this in a very interesting way. Maybe we'll get into it in the podcast, but this is the person, this infamous person. They are low and to the left on the graph. They are low ability, they're low likability. This is the easiest person for the senior pastor or the executive pastor to fire. They are easy.
They bring no value.
They bring no value, and nobody really likes them anyway. Okay.
They're looking to get rid of them.
Let's move on to the incompetent person. They have low ability. They're not very good at their job, but everybody loves them. These leaders are loved but ineffective. People enjoy to be around them, but they struggle to respect their leadership. And guess what? Morale may be high, but progress is slow.
Yeah.
I've seen this.
Village idiot. You're like, it's just funny. They're so sweet and kind and nice, and they're just doing their best.
Yes.
But liking people to like you, that's not advancing the kingdom.
No.
We actually have to get things done.
Yes. And the funny thing, Vance, is that here's often the phrases that will come. If you're in the South, it's, oh my word, well, bless their heart. They aren't blessing your heart.
Yeah.
That's
Bless
a
their heart.
that's a pejorative. That is a negative statement saying, well, let's just for the moment overlook that they're completely dumb and they can't get nothing done.
Right.
Here's another one that's a little bit nicer. You maybe would hear this in the North. Well, they've got a good heart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're a good person.
Listen, they are a sweetheart of a person. But they can't, okay, I get it. But, and so watch this. This is sometimes a difficult person for the executive pastor to fire. Because even though behind closed doors, everybody is like, bro, they cannot get this done. They drop balls all the time. Their likability keeps them in the organization longer than they should be in the organization.
They're like the mascot on the sidelines that everybody loves and is cheering on, but they're not moving the ball forward.
Is that the truth? And so let's push pause for a minute. Let's just assume that there isn't anybody on the podcast who is the infamous one. Maybe they are, but I'm going to say it's probably these other two extremes, okay? Maybe you... Yep. So what do you need to do? What's the call to action? You need to humble yourself and maybe you need to stick around a little longer at the church. Maybe you need to dot your I's, cross your T's. Maybe you need to put in a little bit more time and not rely on the idea that everybody thinks you're a good guy.
Right. Well, and it's first, I think, is recognizing it. But here's, when I look back, because like we said earlier, I think this is probably, especially early on, this was more me, is I had an executive pastor that in some ways forced me into this, but I was receptive to it, was he taught me how to be a professional. He taught me how to manage a task list and what it meant to manage my calendar and I had to submit to that. Well, what he was doing was raising my ability. He was raising my ability. In Slingshot, often we call this when we've been working on our process, we'll say, our science has matched our art. It's the art and the science. It's the poetry and the plumbing. You got to have both, and they've got to be working. We got to be working together. And so knowing which one is in a deficit and getting people around you that can help push you along and raise your ability. Call somebody else that does this job. Pick their brain, read some books. How about you? If you're probably listening to this podcast, it's a good start, but why don't you jump into the whole lead ministry ecosystem and go through some courses? Raise your ability to match your likability. Okay, this is very good. So you've got the incompetent, low ability, high likability. Now let's talk about the intimidator. Super high ability, basically runs circles around people, but they don't really realize when they're doing damage. These leaders can get things done, but it's at a cost. The teams feel pressure, not presence. People follow out of fear or obligation, not trust. Now, I have to say that I was, if there was a fault that I had, it would be that I was super, super high ability, but my passion to get it done sometimes overlooked the relationships that I needed to help me really get it done. Yeah. This is the mindset shift here is we see people as a means to the end to accomplish our ministry goal. They are a cog in our machine. They're a gear that helps this thing fit. And so the people that are around me are just helping me accomplish my task. The shift is people are not a means to an end. They are the end. They are the focus. That is your whole point, is to develop and invest and pastor the people around you. And here's what happens. I think it's often a lie of the enemy because it's counterintuitive. Okay, if I don't focus on that task and I focus on these people, nothing's going to get done. But actually, if you focus on the people, now they can begin to do the task, and you can multiply and get way more done and get done way faster than you ever thought possible.
Right. That's right. I'll never forget. So
you got to focus on the people.
I'll never forget a great friend. He was the worship pastor at our church, and he was a friend of mine. And I was very, 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 very early. This is within like the first 6-7 months of me being at the church. And he goes, "Hey, can I share something with you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Go ahead and sit down," because I had come into his office in like a little bit of a tornado. I was like, "Hey,
little manic,
can you do your further? I need this, da, da, da." And he goes, "Hey, we're friends." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Take a seat." So that in and of itself, like that was that. Hear me out. I was standing like really eager to get this done, but he was saying, just come in and chill and hang for a while. And he goes, "Sometimes when you come in, you really just want to get something done. We're going to be able to get it done together, but just hang for nothing is this big of a rush. Like, be present." And I was like, "Hey, touche." I learned a very valuable lesson. It was very early on. And
what a gift.
It was a huge gift. Rather than him being irritated or frustrated, he saw that he took a risk to see if I was teachable. And I have to be honest with you. I took that lesson so quickly and so clearly that I literally would make my rounds just to hang with people. And was it strategic? Now, I'm not saying that I was like, "Ooh, I got to grease this gear because I want something from this person." That's not the kind of person that I am. But my desire to get something done sometimes could supersede like hanging out and just being whatever. I ended up learning a ton from that single conversation.
Yeah.
Extremely valuable.
Absolutely. This is a values thing. And there's nothing wrong with this. Like, we need to value getting things done. We need to but not at the expense of people. And again, on the other side, where we just came from, you can value people and not getting things done enough to where it's not a binary thing. It's a both and.
Okay. Now, Vance, I'm gonna flip back here we'll come back to this in just a second, but I want to show on the screen really quick that you put yourself in that kind of early on lower ability, super, super, super high likability. And so then the finance ladies ended up saying, "Oh, come here, buddy. Let me."
Yes. Bless his heart. Bless his heart. He's so sweet.
He did it wrong again. Now, normally I would get frustrated, but it's you. Okay.
That's
so
right.
That was an advantage to you. Now watch this.
It was a superpower.
It was a superpower. Now watch carefully. My ultra high ability ended up that the finance people, whenever there was a mistake on the finances, and it was the youth group, the youth leader versus the children's leader, and there was some discrepancy, they would give me the benefit of the doubt because they're like, "It can't be him because every I is dotted, every T is crossed. He never makes mistakes. It's got to be the youth guy who is infamous for making mistakes." And so you ended up getting some benefit of the doubt because of your likability. I had the benefit of the doubt because I just didn't, I was super competent in, okay, as an example, we ran double books. We went, like all of a sudden the church had their own, nope, we ran a parallel set of a parallel ledger. And all of a sudden we're like, "Hey, as we compare these, that's not our line item. Somebody made a mistake and they put 62322. That's not us. 62323 is us. Somebody entered something wrong. This $472 charge, that ain't ours." And automatically the finance people were like, "Well, no question. You're probably, you're right." But if the youth guy came and said, "Hey, I think something," they're going to be like, "Bro, doubt it. How many times have you, like, you are colossal making mistakes. So on both sides, we can get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. What makes me think of, Josh, is what we've been saying up to this point is recognizing where you're strong and then bolstering that weakness side. But I think it's also probably knowing when to scale back and pull back, not just a pull up. It's sometimes that ability or that man, we probably need to just pull this back a little, throttle this one down a little bit.
I agree. And so it's becoming a self-aware person. It's becoming, not just IQ, but EQ. Do you have enough emotional intelligence to know, slow your roll a little bit or step up your game a little bit? What's action? Mm-hmm. And by the way, at the end of the day, we do this self-reflection and then we need to move in one of the directions. And so the one that we want to be, Vance, is high ability, high likability. And so this one here, they are the most effective leaders. They are the influencer. These are the people that people follow because they can get it done and because they want to follow them, right? Also, they bring both results and relationship. This is extremely important. This is what I was striving for. And I have to tell you, we all have our tendencies, but I did move toward this direction. And I think you did as well, because you are a man of excellence and you're a man of likability.
Well, thanks, Josh. And I see that in you as well. I thought of a story, and I think this might be a great way to cap this off.
You bet.
Do you remember the Robert Redford movie way back in the day, The Horse Whisperer?
Never heard of it, brother. Tell us.
Are you serious? You never heard of The Horse Whisperer? Okay, so it's based, and this is probably from the 90s, but that movie was based off of a real person. I don't remember his name, but essentially here's what happened. This guy grew up, and his father, they would break horses. And so they would find a Mustang, they'd capture it, put it in the ring, and he watched his dad essentially, you break the will of this horse. You know, you tie him up and they run in a circle and you're hitting him with the whip, you're breaking this horse. Mm-hmm. And after decades of watching his dad do that, what he did is he went out into the wild and looked at horses and how they would behave. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he noticed over and over again is often there would be a lone male horse that would get separated from the herd, mm-hmm. and they always want to find a new herd. Well, there was a process that would take place of this lone horse joining the herd,
integrating,
and it was this process where the main matriarch lead horse would stand and face this lone horse with her ears pointed out, and this was a sign of challenge. Kind of, hitting her hooves hitting the hooves, and the horse that was wanting to join would do the same. Then the horse, the matriarch horse, would turn and expose her flank, which is a vulnerable position. This is an invitation. So now the new horse would take a step towards and this process would go back and forth. This invitation and challenge. It would go back and forth, mm-hmm. until their noses touched. And this would be essentially the joining of the two. And now that
person is in.
Now they're a part of the herd. And so what this guy did, the horse whisperer, he started doing this, challenging and turning and exposing, until he joined with this horse, and he was able to break a horse within an hour.
Without whipping, without beating it.
That would take days. And so, but what it is, it's exactly what we're talking about. It's invitation and challenge. It's results and relationship. In order to be effective, to bring people in, we've got to have both the challenge, both the getting it done, And the exposing, the likability, the relationship, the invitation. It's the invitation and the challenge. The invitation is that relationship, the likability. The challenge is we're getting stuff done. It's the ability. It requires both to be an effective influencer and to lead people and to steward the people that God has given you.
Yeah. That's really good. I like that. Now, the funny thing is that there's an entire training. I don't know if it's by this same guy, but there is a parent training. There is a leadership training about this kind of approach to horse whispering in working with horses in a non-beat it kind of way. It's very interesting. Okay, well, let's land this plane. Let's talk about shifting your leadership posture even this week. Okay, you're hearing this on a Monday. That's great. We're in the middle of this conflict series. Maybe the conflict is happening because you're not likable enough. Maybe it's happening because you aren't showing up and getting your job done. Let's see if you can shift it. So assess yourself honestly. Ask this question. Where would my team place me on this chart right now? That is very humbling to think about. Because guess what?
Oh, yeah.
Every single buddy knows. I guarantee that everybody's going to assess you properly. Even better, ask them anonymously. Put out a survey, put out a piece of paper that goes, don't put your name on it, fill out this Google form, and be as honest as you can. That would be painful. That would be helpful.
Yes, invaluable.
The next one, pick an axis, and focus. Do you need to grow in skill, ability? Do you need to grow in presence, likability? And for me, I needed to grow in slowing myself down, being present with others, having a little bit more fun, being not so task driven, right? And
absolutely.
I had the capacity to stay late, get it done, dot my I's, cross my T's, and make it happen. It didn't take much for me because I'm a people person. It didn't take much to shift to go, there's a way to get this done and have everybody love you in the process.
That's right. That's because people love you when you have that likability, but they respect you when they have the ability. So to gain both the love and respect,
it's very important.
You gotta raise the level in both.
You do. So again, create a growth plan. One skill to develop, one relationship to invest in, one feedback loop to open up. If you do this and you do it humbly, maybe pray about it, ask God to reveal to you, I genuinely think that you are going to make some serious progress. Well, gang, Vance, by the way, thank you. Thank you for your insight.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
And very, very grateful for you. Well, gang, we're grateful for you out in podcast land. We would love for you to like this podcast. We would love for you to subscribe, all of those great things that would help us a ton. But at the end of the day, make an assessment of yourself. Likable? Great. Continue to grow in your likability. You got some skills? Great. Continue to grow in those. You need them both, and we're grateful for you guys. We will catch you on the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Lead Ministry Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and visit leadvolunteers.com for more episodes and resources. Thanks for listening.